I'm gonna be real and say that I don't watch a lot of new anime now. I mean, I used to, but that was before I got a job. Content creation and a safe schedule that is defined by how little I actually get. But when I did watch a lot of anime, that was a whole different time in my life. Time to find my World of Warcraft, emo music, and post the on live journal because we didn't have MySpace yet. It was also the time I discovered Adult Swim. We didn't have Toonami in Australia. Don't ask me why. Cable TV was still pretty new here in the mid-aughts. We took what we were given. All I can tell you is that every night between 7 and 10 p.m., Adult Swim would broadcast anime, which is how I got my eyes open to shows like Zatch Bell, Eureka 7, One Piece, and Inuyasha. But nestled in those gems was one that stood out to me in particular. A show that didn't just want to be cool. It defied what was cool to my juvenile brain. And that show was Air Gear. Before you get your torches out for the video title because you have seen Air Gear, that just means you're cool too. But that puts us in the minority. Because honestly, hand on heart, I don't think I've ever met another person in my life who's seen it. And that's not anecdotal because the show kind of crashed and burned in Japan.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
That's why we never got any more than the initial run of 25 episodes. Yeah, see, back in 2006, online streaming was still the fever dream of a madman. So studios in Japan relied heavily on DVD sales to justify producing further seasons. And Air Gear sales? Yeah, not so hot. Let's talk about why I love this series so goddamn much. The story of Air Gear is pretty simple by anime standards. There is no isekai, no magic springs, no tournament arc. Yet. It's just a reasonably grounded, street-level story about a guy named Iki who lives with his harem of unrelated but incredibly hot sisters. Did I mention that the manga artist Oh Great got his start in hentai? Who discovered the world of air tracks, motorized rollerblades that allow the wearer to travel at incredible speeds, perform only the sickest of tricks, and fall from great heights without curiously shattering their legs. They also give you magic powers, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. If that was all there was to the show, that would be pretty indistinguishable from most other shonen anime. A protagonist who longs to become the greatest there ever was in a cool subculture that's taking over the world. But the devil is in the details. And that's where Oh Great really set himself apart from his contemporaries. He gathers together a crew of misfits and rivals to form Kurosamaru, a portmanteau of cool words because he's
a dumbass. And there's no accounting for dumbassness.
That's where he decides to climb the Tower of Trophium. See, there's a lot more to being the best there ever was in the world of ATs beyond busting out some sick moves. Winning AT battles against opposing teams allows you to ascend through the ranks of the Parts War and climb high enough in that, and you'll be recognized as a king of your particular road. Roads are a style of riding, the flavor that you favor. There's 8 roads and 8 kings to rule them, and each road represents a particular philosophy. You've got Sky, Flame, Rising, Gem, Lather, Rumble, Thorn, and Fang. And even if you're recognized as a king, you'll never be taken seriously as one unless you have the regalia to cement your position. The legendary AT Parts make you king, a true ruler of their road. If all that sounds really fascinating to you, then prepare to be disappointed because the anime ends right as things are really about to kick off.
Can you explain that text?
Hell, out of the 8 roads I just mentioned, 2 of them are never even discussed in the anime. I'm not gonna spoil how it does end, because you really need to see it for yourself. Calling it abrupt would be generous. Calling it unfinished would be an understatement. But even without all that, much like the Flamer, the story is about passion, but not to be the best, like so many other shonen protagonists. Iki, surprisingly, doesn't really give a damn about the Parts War. Except for what he does because of that one behemoth battle. He just wants to ride, to get closer to the sky, and bring everyone he cares about along for the ride, to experience freedom. And isn't that what we all want deep down? Air Gear isn't gonna change your life in any kind of deeply profound way by opening your eyes to a new way of thinking. Instead, it exists to tap into that part of you that yearns to just be who you are, to accept yourself and live for yourself instead of what others ask of you. That's what Iki's road and chasing the sky is all about. I told you that Air Gear is all about style, that it makes you cooler just for watching it, and I can prove it mathematically. When it came out in 2006, Air Gear was everything the author felt was stylish, sexy, and just goddamn cool to look at. Of course, you could always argue they stole his ideas from Chet Severino, which probably wouldn't be completely unfair since the man himself has admitted he's a big fan of the game. But it would be doing a disservice to the anime and the work it's based on. And while the anime might have sadly crashed and burned, the manga remained popular enough to finish just run years later in 2012, with 357 chapters and 37 volumes. Let's talk about the art first. The art is breathtaking. Ogreat's grasp of detail, perspective, composition, and anatomy, you can thank the hentai for that, is so profound that part of me still believes he's a robot sent from the future exclusively for the purpose of making me feel bad about my own art. Every panel is a lavish spread that highlights how effortlessly he can craft images that would make lesser artists weep at the very idea of putting them to paper. Energy, impact, speed, detail, design. Every element, or even the most mundane and trivial of panels, is here in full force. And I will not stop glazing the man until he turns into a donut, because that's a fraction of the recognition he deserves. The story? Well, that's a different matter. It really comes down to how much you had grown attached to that street-level beginning where Iki just wanted to ride with his pals and learn cool tricks. Much like how Naruto began with very understated low-level jutsu before ending the series with beam clashes that could level mountains, by the time the last few chapters of the manga are in your hands, we've learned how to control time, summon storms, and grow children in a lab to be genetically perfect AT riders who work for the military. Oh, and Obama shows up and gets his mind swapped into the body of a 16-year-old girl. Yeah, that last part comes up knows 10 weird things that only happen in manga videos that used to be popular. Point is, it goes off the rails pretty hard at a certain point. Whether you're alone for the ride is completely up to you. Oh, right, I almost forgot. There's 2 OVAs that came out later to help boost sales of manga collections. A little treat for those super fans who were prepared to dig deep for another hit of the anime that they were never going to get. They were never translated into English, and finding them online can be tricky if you're not prepared to sail the high seas. And even if you do get your hands on them, they take place at random times of the manga, well after the main series finished proper. So if you've never read the manga, you'll have no idea what's happening. It's mild spoilers here, so consider yourself warned. There's timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead. The first OVA centers around he's battle with Ringo after he discovers that she's the queen of the Thorn Road and the leader of the legendary team Sleeping Forest. Weird thing to find out about a girl who's your kind of but not really sister, right? Anyway, since she's a queen and he's recently been crowned the king of a Sky Road, she decides they're destined to battle, even if Iki doesn't want her. They throw down, and since Iki has main character plot armor, Ringo is trounced by his new regalia. But wouldn't you know it, those regalia were fake and the real ones were stolen and given Sora, who is the real leader of Sleeping Forest. And Angura's just been keeping his seat warm and smelling of strawberry lip gloss, even if she doesn't know it. And that's kinda it. It just ends after that. The second OVA takes place towards the end of the manga, with Kogura's Maru trapped in a virtual world, which was the style at the time, forced to battle a virtual team of Sleeping Forest when they were at their absolute peak. The team comprised of nothing but kings of each of their respective roads. This was all part of a subplot for Kogura Maru to get entry to the grand scale tournament. See, I told you there would be a tournament arc. So they can finally take on Sora and Sleeping Forest, who have now gained control of America's military, and get to rule the world with ATs. Probably. And well, that's my pitch. I don't really know what else to tell you if this hasn't sold you on the idea of watching Gear. Did I mention this fan service? Yeah, it's got that too. Again, hentai. What else can I say? If I'm being completely honest, there are times where the animation can get a little questionable, especially towards the end. And well, it was for Tihifa time. Some of its attitudes towards people of other persuasions might feel a little dated. Still, for all its faults, it's one of my favorite anime of all time. Probably only losing to Cowboy Bebop if I'm being completely honest. And really, what anime doesn't lose to the GOAT when you put them side by side? But that's a video for another time. Speaking of which, this video was a little break from the video game critiques to try something new. So if you want more, let me know in the comments below, yeah? Class dismissed.